Okay, so we are good to go. So we are here for our content marketing. Use AI or a copywriter. So that's the topic for today. And let me introduce Nick and Catherine here. They both are from Brick Marketing and then who have been supportive of us as our platinum sponsors. And they are doing a lot of work in terms of helping organizations to from the CEO to the content strategy, and then bringing this whole amazing word, the emerging word of AI. So let me pass on to Nick and let them introduce a little bit more themselves about what they do, why they are here, how they can help us. Over to you, Nick.
Perfect. Thank you, Kamal. Thank you. So, welcome everyone. My name is Nick Stimoulis. I am the founder and president of Brick Marketing. We're a local Boston-based digital marketing agency. We've been in business for 21 years, and we've worked with hundreds of businesses in virtually every industry. And just the only thing I'm going to say about us is we help companies. We offer service, training, and consulting on all things digital marketing, search, SEO, and AI marketing. And we're here today to just provide useful information for everyone about content marketing, about the use cases, if you will, of AI, scenarios to use AI for your content, for your copywriting, scenarios to not use AI for your content writing. We have vast experience managing, building, small and quite large and sophisticated content marketing strategies and all types of content. So hopefully we can provide everyone with useful information. Feel free to ask us questions. At the end, we will have a Q&A section, and Catherine and I will kind of go back and forth and answer our questions the best we can. So welcome everyone. Thanks again for spending some time. I'd like to introduce Catherine Tsoukalis. She is our marketing manager at Brick Marketing. She and Catherine will tell you more about herself, but Catherine is our content, I would say, champion, or superhero, if you will. She's a professional copywriter. So I'll pass it over to you, Catherine, and you can reintroduce yourself as well.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Tsoukalis. I started my professional career as a writer, as a copywriter, ghostwriter, freelance writer, and I joined the Brick Marketing team, what is it, just about 15 years ago at this point?
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, wow. Time
Time
flies.
flies. It does.
Transitioned into marketing, and I brought with it my writing experience, vast writing experience. I've written thousands of articles, tens of thousands of articles over the course of my career, which I started in the early 2000s. And for Brick Marketing alone, I've written a lot of content for clients, for our brands. And prior to that, I've ghostwritten books, I've written copy, website copy, old school copy, brochures, and all that. And so it's interesting how things have evolved over the decades in the writing industry alone, never mind in marketing, and the implications of what AI is now meaning for content marketing. It's very fascinating, and I am looking forward to diving in. So I guess I'll jump in and get started. This is generally what we're going to be covering. It's our table of contents slide. You'll see that we're going to dive into talking about the current marketing landscape for content, especially the value that AI can add, um, where AI does not add value, and how to navigate that. Making the case that human copywriters still matter, and they really do. And this is close to my heart because of all of my writing experience, but it is still 100% true. And we'll dive into talking about some frameworks, how to use AI and content together, and taking the right approach, and all the other good stuff. I'm going to dive in and not spend too much time on this slide. Did you have anything to add, Nick?
No, that's just basically high level of topics we're going to cover today.
Yeah. So to jump right in, we wanted to spend some time talking about where content marketing is at right now. And where it's at is it's kind of in flux, but it also kind of isn't. Content is still good content. You still have to connect to your audience. That's going to always be a constant that's never going to change. But AI has introduced a different way for people to find your content and even a different way to help people create that content. And it's just something to keep in mind as we navigate this time. It's just different. It's not better or worse, it's different. And AI is there as a tool that can help us or it cannot help us. And that's what we're going to really get into today.
Yeah. One thing I want to kind of mention here, if you see here on the slide, and in case you haven't figured out, we're not just going to read bullet point by bullet point.
No.
We're going to kind of summarize and add our thoughts and opinions and based on our expertise and
Mhm.
experience in content marketing. And so the one thing that's been fascinating to see, especially, since chat has really gone live, since all the AI platforms have really hit the open web and they're in their current form, and as they're evolving, we've noticed this shift of oh my goodness, content. We need tons of content. We need more authoritative content. But then it was kind of like this silence period, which we've noticed in the last
Mhm.
probably year of a lot of marketers kind of pulling back, saying, ooh, I don't know, right? Like, do we need it for search anymore? Do we need it for so? I mean, a lot obviously we do, but how people are developing content, it seems to is changing. And um, long story short, and we'll kind of you'll see this recurring theme. Content is still the foundation of everything that we do online digitally in every way. It's the foundation of search, traditional modern SEO. It's the foundation of social media, right? When we say content, we don't mean just articles and blog content. We mean any type of content, long form content, micro content, gated or ungated content, video content. And now with AI search and generative engine optimization, I mean, it literally is extremely important. So we'll get to that a little bit later on, but it's just a little side note that it really has been fascinating with AI going really kind of mainstream as it is now in its current format, how sometimes people think they can say, oh, well, let's just get rid of our copywriter, use AI only. We've seen that
Mhm.
that is becoming a mistake. And not to digress too much early, but there's a term called work slop, AI work slop, that we're actually seeing. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal about it recently that we're seeing that trend where brand managers, marketers were tasked with maybe C-suites come and say, hey, just shrink your budget down, chop AI, chop copywriters, use AI to do that content. And now they're kind of having to go back and fix it because it maybe missed the mark from a conversion perspective, missed the mark from a brand and connecting the dots, if you will, as
Mhm.
a traditional copywriter would when writing the content. So yeah.
Yeah.
So Catherine, yeah,
The takeaway to understand during where things are at now is AI is changing the way content can be created.
yeah, yeah,
AI is changing the way content can be found. But there's still a lot of things that are staying the same.
yeah,
And I'm looking forward to diving in to all of those themes because, yes, times are changing, but they're also not changing because at the core, you're still connecting with your audience. And that's the
yeah.
underlying name of the game. So we thought we'd start on a positive note and discuss what value does AI hold for your content marketing. And there are certain content tasks that AI actually does perform very well that we found. I have found to be incredibly time saving to use AI, for example, to generate content ideas, topics for articles, and things like that. Because you can prompt it and say something like, I would like X number of articles on this topic, and you can even talk about your niche, your industry, and it'll very quickly give you 40, 50 titles. However, that does not mean this is where the human element comes in. It does not mean that all of these are good to go. You got to look at it. Is the title
Right,
composed the way your audience wants? Is it on brand for you to convey information this way? Because even telling if a content is AI or not is something that starts in the title. So the title makes or breaks it, but you can save time for sure by looking at what it comes up with. It might give you some ideas you didn't even think of. You can
right,
actually also use it to structure a piece of content because it's kind of like that's kind of like the hardest part often, especially for longer pieces. What is the structure going to be? So you ask it to help you, and it will help you, but still, you got to look. You got to look yourself, and make sure that it's on brand for you. You can get it to summarize. Oh, whoops. You can get it to summarize and repurpose content. But again, you got to look still. It's great at creating metadata, FAQ style content, coming up with questions for FAQ style content. And it makes you operate more efficiently. I mean, it used to take me, I don't know, how long would it take to generate 50 article topics? Well, it would take a while. Let's say 20 of what AI comes up with in 30 seconds is usable. Still saves a lot of time with some tweaking. So what we're looking is to increase our productivity without compromising our own brand voice and the way we convey information and the way our audience wants to connect to that information.
So a little tidbit here for this that I would just chime in on. What I've found is when it comes to repurposing content or coming up with topics, obviously we all know or are learning that it's in the prompt, right? And how you're
Mm,
prompting, the LLMs in these AI platforms. And it's not, they're not all created equal, right? Like, we find ChatGPT's excellent for content, creation. Claude is pretty good. Gemini is good, but but we also, for instance, for our clients, I mean, we still have professional copywriters. Catherine, we have another copywriter on our team. So we have two professional copywriters on our team still. And so when we're creating topics, we're essentially using, various LLM accounts for like one client or one industry. So we're not actually using like one paid ChatGPT account and multitasking. We have found that the LLMs, because they learn as you're moving on, that it retains style, tone, brand, what works well, what doesn't, and so then you can talk to it. I say talk to it. I talk to it naturally. I literally do. And when I'm using any of the platforms in a way that I'm as if I'm talking, if I had, a marketing assistant helping me, like, hey, you do this, use that piece, so you're so less using it like I guess speak naturally, but I guess my just a tip here that I've noticed that really works well is having one account that's a paid account where it can learn for one brand tends to work better right now.
mhm,
That's for generating content and different types of content because it's retaining the historical information. If you're putting, you know, five brands, if you will, or 50 audiences that you're targeting your content to in one LLM, yes, it may learn, but it may also might get confused in tone, right? And so that's just a little trick that I know Catherine, you and I talk about this stuff all the
mhm.
time, and our whole team does. But that's just a little side note that I've noticed is working well.
So I think we've all seen AI content that is not working. We know what it looks like. It has too many dashes. The content drifts and starts to not making sense as it gets about halfway through. The same goes for images. In the early days of AI, we all remember the multi-fingered people. I don't know if you've seen them, six fingers. You're like, why did it do that? So it makes these hallucinations, and that's what it doesn't do well. I've noticed that as new updates happen in most of the models, it gets better and better, but it still falls flat in those areas, and that's why you really need to look at what it's doing. You can't just trust, okay, what it made is going to be perfect for my industry. You're going to look at a fact and be like, where did it get that from? You have to be able to catch those things before you put your content live. And
Yeah,
you
that's
also,
that's that's big.
oh no,
Yeah.
go, yeah, go. You can talk about the work slop because that's here. We've all seen it.
Yeah, I mean, this goes without saying in all types of copywriting and content. I'm sure everyone knows this that's listening right now, but proof, and reproof.
Mm,
Proof your content, read it out. I mean, it sounds so basic, but it's still so accurate, especially with using AI to write any content. Really make sure it's cohesive. Make sure it's hitting the marks of the goals of that particular piece of content. What are you looking to accomplish? Make sure it's delivering on that. And like you said, Catherine, I love it. Like the drift. I think you came up with that term. You say that all the
yeah,
time. like it like drifts. So it's almost like seeing a little, a little bird flying by, and it just kind of looks around, like there it is. Right? So
Right,
that's what we mean by drift, where it's like not staying on target. So it's
right.
important to really keep it focused and proof it.
And keep myself focused and proof your prompts because the other day, for
Yeah.
example, I made a typo. I said shoe instead of show, and it started talking about shoes, and I didn't know I did that. I hit enter, and the whole thing that it turned out drifted and was talking about shoes, and it was not even remotely about shoes. I wanted it to show me something. I was like, oh no. So I ended up deleting the thread and starting over. But that's a classic example of drift that honestly could have been avoided if I just looked at my prompt before I hit enter. And sometimes, your computer kind of fills in an autocorrect for no reason and it didn't even need correcting. That kind of stuff messes up the way AI delivers information to you. And that's why we have to look, we have to give it the human eye. And we don't necessarily endorse like actually creating the content with AI. What I'll sometimes do is I'll have it created, but I'll look at it and I'll write it myself. Just seeing how it structured it is very helpful. But knowing that the sentences probably were generic, we know what it looks like. Sometimes, in today's world, how many pieces have I had AI?
Right. All right. Or digital landscape, the
Yeah, in this
competitive
digital,
digital landscape. Like, really, stop saying the word landscape. I literally have that baked in. When I prompt, no dashes, no lamp, don't use the word landscape
I
anywhere.
don't want to see it at all. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even want to see it if this is a draft or like just you giving me an outline. I don't
Right.
want to see it.
Right.
And that is a great segue into this is why human copywriters still matter.
Mhm.
Yes, AI is saving us time. It's saving me a lot of time. I don't 100% trust it. I want to make sure that what the finished product I'm delivering, whether it's for one of our brands, a client, a personal project, whatever I'm writing, I want to make sure it is 100% authentic. And that's the goal. That's why you need the human copywriters. You need somebody to look at it. You need somebody to make sure it's on brand, that your message is clear. It's not always going to be clear if you just completely rely on the tools. It's going to fall short. Like, for example, I'll go down the list a little bit. We are strategic thinkers as marketers and as writers. You have to make sure you have your strategy in place when you're using AI for these tasks. And that is something that you can try to train it a little bit, but you cannot, it only takes you so far. And I talk about audience a lot. Audience definitely matters. There's an emotional intelligence to human-driven copywriting that AI just does not have. It's very robotic. It tries to not be robotic, but almost trying not to be robotic makes it worse because it feels like
Right.
somebody that's learning, that's trying to show that it has emotions it doesn't actually have. So, and your brand storytelling, yes, you can train a model up to a point for these types of things, but it only takes you so far. Don't know if you wanted to chime in. Your editorial strategy, everything works better if you've taken the time to actually create the strategy in the first place. You can't rely on AI to tell you what the strategy is. You can get it to help you assist in strategic plans,
Right.
but it's an assistant. It's not, you have to look at it and say, this doesn't actually make sense. Why did you put that there? You have to
Right.
catch these
Right.
things.
I agree, Catherine. I think the biggest thing here is strategy. So your content at a higher level needs to be the foundation and work into every other part of your higher level digital marketing strategy. The problem with AI is it can't necessarily, even if you dictate to an LLM, any of the platforms, here's our strategy, here's it just like really like kind of provide all the information detailed into it, and you tell it, okay, I need you to remember all of this when creating this content because here's the big picture, but now here are the details that we need this content to accomplish. And many times it just can't comprehend it because
Mhm.
sometimes it has almost like predetermined ways of thinking about things, and I know the LLMs are learning. These AI tools are learning. I've many times, as because don't forget, we've been doing this. I've been doing this professionally for almost 30 years. Okay, and we've been in business for brick marketing for 21 years. So we haven't used AI, right? So everything strategic we've used our brains and our experience and
Mhm.
results and data to make these types of decisions. And now all of a sudden, here comes AI out of left field saying, "Oh, well, you should do X, Y, and Z." And there are times where I challenge AI and say, "Hey, you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong, because you're
Mhm.
not seeing these other factors." And then of course, it's well, yeah, good point. Okay, well, so that's why so the strategic aspect of content needs to be really tight and predetermined. But you, as a strategist, you as a marketer, have to take that time to do that and understand what it is,
Mhm.
to not have AI kind of shift that for you inadvertently too.
Mhm. There's a human creativity piece that AI will not be able to touch.
Right.
It's the human creativity that allows us to look at a list and say, actually, that's not aligned with our strategy. This
Mhm.
is aligned with our strategy. And it just keeps things in check. We don't want the drift that we've talked about happening at a brand level.
Right.
We want to catch it before the copy gets on the website, before the brochure copy, you realize it doesn't even make any sense for your brand. You have to catch it. So we thought we would talk a little bit about how can you make AIs and humans work together to create a valid content framework that you can actually use and you can have confidence using so that you know that your brand is going to be well represented, that your audience is going to be happy. So I forget what. Oh, right. So this slide actually is a comparison between the two. What it looks like when humans lead versus when AI leads. And you know that we're going to believe that humans need to lead while AI assists. But let's just say you have AI lead the charge. You can have it do that in certain areas like creating a first draft.
Mhm.
It's just a draft. This is not your finished piece. You can have AI give you some content ideas based on data. You can actually upload physical data and say, hey, what are some topics that are aligned with this data or that can help us in our brand? And you can use it to create content clusters. You can use it to help you repurpose things. But these are all tasks. It's not your strategic level. This
Right.
is you already knowing your strategy, already knowing your brand, already understanding that your human creativity gives you the advantage. And this is what we're talking about. So when humans lead, the brand voice is prominent, clearly defined. Your strategic messaging is clearly defined. And you have the storytelling piece that you can only really train AI to try to do, but your brand story is inside of you and everybody that works on your brand, and it's inside the collective of your company. And AI is never going to fully lock in on that.
Yeah. To get a little, that's great. All great points. I think the key nugget here is I find, and we do this quite a bit, that repurposing content, AI is brilliant at it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, as far as, for instance, if you have a landing page and you say, you want to create a PPC ad, right?
Hmm.
And you say, hey, here's the character limit. Here's, I want a strong CTA on it. Here's the conversion elements. And you give it all the data. Write 30 versions for this PPC ad.
Right.
Maybe you end up using 10 of them, but that right there saves a tremendous amount of time, right?
Hmm.
Social media, writing social posts. Now, I don't mean the social posts, and I've seen it, and obviously every social platform is different and every audience is different, whether you're B2B or B2C and the various, social platforms you're using. And some, types of content obviously work better on other platforms. But generally speaking, I find it does a really good job of summarizing something or repurposing it. But again, you still have to read it, still have to proof it, have to make sure that your CTAs are what they should be, that it doesn't sound robotic too. Because
Mm.
as you mentioned, Catherine, your brand tone and voice still needs to be there. But the repurposing piece I find is just really great. Um,
Yeah, it offers a fluidity in your workflow that wasn't possible before AI.
right,
Like I've uploaded, here's a complete article. Let's say the article's like 600 words. And I decide, all right, this is a great topic and there's more I could have done with it. AI, how do I expand on this for a longer article or even for a white paper? And it'll tell you, but then you
right,
still have to look. What does this
right,
outline look like now? Does it still make sense? Do some of the subheadings make sense? Do they not make sense and we need tweaks? Okay. So it's synergistic right now. They work
yeah,
together. Humans and AI
right,
can work together, but the slop that we have encountered is when people just are blindly trusting it.
yeah,
You write me these 30 articles, and now all of a sudden you have 30 random looking AI blog posts that are like, oh God, why did you
right,
do that?
right, right. We actually, Catherine and I have been talking about this quite a bit, and our whole team has been. Is I don't know. We're firm believers that we're going to see. We might be wrong, but we may not be.
I don't
But
know.
I think in about within 5 years, we're going to see a lot of these. I mean, search is going to be different completely. I think within 5 years, search is going to be completely different. But outside of that, we all might see, SEO penalties from AI written content, massive amounts of AI written content. We've already seen it, but I mean at a large scale. PPC and display ads right now. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen ads on TV and in digital. And we're like, oh, AI, that's totally AI, right? The AI created that. Eventually, because the results aren't going to be maybe as good on the other end because your audience now is, understanding that, hey, that content, that ad was written by AI, created by AI, so it may not have the same lift and end result.
Mhm.
There may be penalties there. We also may see it in social media. I mean, I mean, if I actually on my personal time, I enjoy TikTok. I do, it's just for the various topics. But I've noticed a shift, right? Like maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago, the AI videos that came out, before you had to market social media, this content was created by AI, were kind of brilliant. People loved them. People responded to them. Then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, people got burned out. I mean, how many times you see an AI created video on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and it's like the crowd of pitchfork people coming out ready to attack it. AI created garbage, garbage. I mean, that kills your brand. But I feel like social media is going to be different too from all of this. So the point is, um, when you use AI as a tool to help you create content that's part of the bigger picture, but our advice, I know Catherine believes the same thing. Don't
Yeah.
just use it to spin massive amounts of useless content that is not going to really resonate with your audience
Nope.
and help you achieve the results you need. Because it may be short term, but 2 years,
Yep.
5 years, if you're still doing that, multiply that over a year, 2 years, 3 years, five
You're
years
at risk.
time, you're big time risk. I mean, we've seen it over the years with SEO, right? When back the early days of search, people used to have the keyword rich domain names and they used to spin article spinning, just spammy content. Thousands of articles to quote unquote rank on topics. One of the major algorithm updates happened maybe about 15 years ago, and that just wiped out all those people, wiped out all that content in one swoop. Remember, we had to clean it up. We
Yeah.
spent years cleaning that up for clients. So the point is, use it responsibly as a really
Yep.
good tool to help you. Just don't depend on it blindly for all your content.
Yep.
That's
You
really
need
the
your
moral of the
anchor
story.
points. To go along with that, you need your anchor,
Yep,
your audience, your business goals, your strategy, making sure your voice is represented. If you follow that, you can comfortably use it as a tool without
absolutely.
stress, without worrying about it. So we believe that when you're creating a content marketing plan, you have to do so strategically. It goes along, it's a branch of digital marketing. It's a pillar activity that affects just about everything that you do. And so if you start by mapping your content types to the approach that you're looking for, you can make sure that everything that you're looking for is going to be represented. For example, If you are creating content and you have SEO in your head, that does not mean that you can't also give that content elements that will do well in AI. For example, if you're connecting with your audience in the first place, if your content marketing strategy follows along with your sales cycle, if you're writing it in a very structured, scannable way that actually has depth and authority, it's going to help your brand. Anything that helps your brand is going to help in both the search engines and AI engines when they're churning out information. But if you trust your content mapping to just say, oh, this sounds like a great idea, you're going to fall short because it might not be aligned with your brand, with your strategy. It might not be primed to show up well in the search engines. It might not be on brand for you. So taking the extra step back to really plan out your content is going to be very helpful. So what you really need to start by doing is discover what your goals are for the content. And not every piece of content is going to have the same goal, and that's okay. If you have everything laid out, you can see strategically how everything is going to build on each other. So to define the content goal before choosing which approach, that helps. You have to discover if the type of content that you're thinking of writing, whether it's a ad or an article or a white paper, what is the strategic fallout if you lean on AI too heavily for this type of content? You need to make sure that you have a good flow when you're creating the piece. Match speed and scale needs to the workflow. So you want to take your time with certain things. Other things you need it to happen quickly. And that'll kind of tell you how involved AI is going to be. And you also need to have a clear system for making sure everything gets reviewed so that you can discover if it's too AI focused. I mean, there are some checker tools one could use to even check for AI involvement within the piece. And we like 0% personally, no matter what happens or how we got to where we're going with whatever piece of content it is. We like the tools to say 0%, because that just means that it's genuine. It came from the heart, no matter which tool was being used. Nick, do you have anything to add?
No, no. Well said.
Okay. So I'm sure you all remember the notion of pillar content. It's been around for a long time. It's been good. It's worked. It's been helpful. Um, It's different than a regular blog post. Pillar content tends to be all-encompassing for a topic, different tactics that you can use. Like a blog post is a single focused topic with single focused information within the article written a certain way. And a pillar content requires more depth, and it's very likely that you're going to find an easier time getting AI to assist on the likes of a simple blog post. Well, I call it simple. Nothing's ever truly simple, right? But the blog post that's a title, subheadings, just regular good old content, you might have an easier time getting AI to assist you in at least outlining it or coming up with the ideas for it versus pillar content, which tends to be more strategic and it has to be aligned with everything that you're doing. Everything that you do has to be aligned with everything that you're doing. But you might find because pillar content is more in depth, that AI is not going to be as helpful. The longer the piece, the more strategic the purpose, and the more human thought that's required to get it right, the more you're going to see AI drift as you try to use it as a tool. Did you have anything to add, Nick?
No.
Um, you'll notice that AI is actually pretty good at creating sales enablement content, but so are humans, right? And you have to think about what is my end goal for this piece. It is perfectly okay for AI to create a draft and outline to give you some ideas for how to direct the content so that you can address your audience well. But it's the human creativity and the human strategic thought that is going to really make sure that the audience is connecting. AI
Yeah.
doesn't connect as well as humans do, right? We can try to teach it, but it's just not going to do that. You because the conversation has to be in your head. This type of content is very much, I need to reach you. AI is going to sound like a robot trying to reach somebody unless you get in there and you get involved with it. But the collaboration and the synergy between the two, AI and human, is going to make a piece come out faster because it'll help direct your flow. It'll help get you started. Yeah. You were going to say something, Nick, I could tell.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think for sales content, and we say sales content, we mean, maybe like a landing page,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or, that's, or an email or, some sort of content that's asking for some sort of action. We find that using AI to write it, but then rewrite it, having a human rewrite it after tends to work well. Because what ends up happening, like Catherine said, it's sometimes it gets just too salesy, and
Mm-hmm.
when I say, and sometimes it's on the borderline of being cheesy, where
Yeah.
it's not going to really, it doesn't really connect. So
Yeah. Or
advice
even
for yeah,
condescending too. Like,
right,
this is our
right,
brand and we're great.
right,
Mm.
right, yeah, exactly. So the advice there is, use it maybe for prompt an AI platform, mm, to maybe give you an outline or maybe give you the bullet points, but then rewrite it so it's in your tone and voice, especially if it's a sales, a
Mm-hmm.
page that, lead gen page, e-commerce page, email, whatever it is. So then it softens, it sticks to your brand. Yeah, so that's it.
Thought leadership is actually pretty tricky. Um,
Yes,
Executives love to use AI to show their expertise and to save time. That's great. That's why we all want to use AI, right? But when it comes to thought leadership content, that has to 100% be in your personality or in your brand's personality. Otherwise, you're going to be like, even a simple email uh, could
right,
be considered thought leadership. Any content that comes from the executive level or from the brand level, it you can use AI to assist in topic creation, outlining, whatever. But I believe that this type of content has to be 100% human written. Even if you had AI kind of write it, have it do it, put it away, and then write it from the top of your own head, it's going to mean
yeah,
a lot more. But AI could have still saved you time just by seeing how it turned out the information or directed you.
right. I agree 100%. I mean, we've seen it.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, if you're the easiest way, if you're reading any type of publication, right? News publication, industry publication, and you have your favorite author, writer, whomever, editor on that particular outlet, and you figure if you knew that that was written by AI, would you want to listen to that person's opinion, or if it's editorial, would you want to, right? Or would you want to read that news story again?
Hmm.
Probably not, because you say, oh, geez, that's AI garbage, right? What type of reporting is that? And so
Hmm.
it's the same thing in an executive level. Executive level means it's real thought leadership. Like, so, for instance, when we write content for our clients, that's from, at that level, maybe that's going on like a guest site for an industry site for a client. We use zero AI. The only, maybe for topics we use AI, but after
Hmm.
that we use, and then we work with the client and have their voice and then help them, even coach them, so then they can
Hmm.
get the writing done and maybe help them through that process and edit it for them so it's tighter. But it's still, executive thought leadership is thought leadership.
Hmm.
So
Not AI being the voice for you, it's you.
exactly, exactly.
So, um, uh, what is this? Oh, okay. So basically, this is a summary, right? We believe that AI can handle certain tasks better than others. We also believe that humans need to be 100% involved. So, to go to the bullet points, AI handles research summaries and drafts very well, and it can help save you. Sometimes back in the old days, I'd stare at the screen for like 10 minutes and be like, okay, I have to collect my thoughts. Well, staring at the screen for 10 minutes, life has to move on at some point. If AI can help me a little bit jumpstart things, I'm gonna do it. But I'm not going to use AI as my thought. It's just really sometimes you just need a push because the blank screen can be scary. So AI takes that away from that fear away, that getting started sort of feeling. It just gets things started and can make things really flow. But humans need to manage the strategy and the direction. Humans need to really police the brand and the voice and make sure things are connecting. But you can use tools to streamline. And it can also help you. AI can also help you like rework things and really just keep the process moving without gaps. Even something that you think is simple, like creating an outline by hand, I don't know. Sometimes an outline would take me longer than the article took. But AI can really just help things flow and help things move better. Well, the finished product is still 100% you. Do you have anything to add? I clicked the slide, but
No,
you know.
no, no. I want to make sure
So
we have enough time, by the way, Catherine, to answer people's questions because I'm seeing some questions come in.
I
Really good
think how many
ones.
slides do I have left? Oh, this is it. We just got to, oh, whoops. I went the wrong way.
You went too
Oh my
far.
God. I have to start over. I wanted to see how many slides I have left and I lost my well anyway, the slide before it died, and I'll put it back, is we're talking about governance. What we mean by
Hmm.
that is that we have to take, how do you get it back, Nick? Oh, is that
Bottom
it?
right, right
Did I
there.
do it?
Yep,
Is it this one? Oh,
yep.
there we go.
We don't use PowerPoint as much these days.
Yeah. I usually just talk and I don't worry about the slides. Everyone can see it, right? Okay.
Yes, we're good.
So, what we have to do is from an organization level, determine what are our parameters. How are we going to use AI? Because if you don't put constraints on people, on your departments, your marketing team, whomever, your CEO, it's going to be a workplace filled with slop.
Right.
We don't want that. We want the workplace to be efficient, human-led, but using AI as the tool that it's meant to be used for, to complement your workflow, not to replace it, but to make it better, make your process more efficient. We've
Yeah.
spoken of my volume of writing content. If I had this 20 years ago, I'd be like 100,000 articles deep into my career at this point. It would save me, it would have saved me so much time.
Yeah, I think the thing here, Catherine, that the big takeaway here is a brand and legal checks.
Yep.
That you have to have some sort of guardrails for AI usage of content and how if you're creating it in house, if you have an in house marketing team, communications team, sales team, that at a higher level it needs to be okay. Here's how we're using it. Here's the
Yes.
check and balance. After a piece of content, what's that process and what's that workflow going to be? Someone has to proof it. Multiple people should be proofing it. We're not just talking typos and grammar. We're talking for clarity, brand clarity, but also legal checks. I think the legal piece is important too,
Hmm.
because a lot of industries, especially in the B2B world, have many legal, I would say, hoops and that have to kind of be that you have to adhere to
Yeah.
in your content, in your writing, and in your marketing at a higher level. And so, there has to be that checks and balance internally.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and you have to know these things also for brand management because if
Right.
somebody's accusing you of writing AI content and it's in social media and you know for a fact it's not because you don't allow that in-house, you
Right.
can post a statement saying none of our content is AI, this is all real. And you can know
Right.
that with confidence. Yeah. So we call it responsible AI usage. We've seen brands use it irresponsibly. Everyone has seen that. We know what it looks like and we know how it feels icky. We just want people to use it responsibly and use it to enhance their workflows. But there's an ethics piece to it as well, as we discussed in the previous slide. Avoid shortcuts that undermine your brand, that undermine your strategy, that undermine your ability to connect with your audience. And this is it shouldn't really be an afterthought, but it kind of is. You really do have to prepare your content for AI search and future discovery, but that's going to come naturally as you focus on structure and focus on maintaining your own voice and your own brand.
Yeah, we've been helping folks with generative engine optimization, GEO or AI search, quite a bit these days.
Hmm.
And you know, great content is great content. It's going to help your
Hmm.
SEO. It's going to help deliver your goals that you needed to, and it'll help you for current and future AI search. Definitely.
Hmm. All right.
Okay. Only promo of the day. I have to have a promo, right? I have to. So we, in addition to being an agency where we offer services, we pride ourselves in training in teaching people best practice and for everything. So we have at our Boston office full day training classes on SEO, AI search, generative engine optimization, and content marketing. Catherine and I teach the class. It's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's available either virtually. So if you just don't want to come in person, no problem. We'd love to see you in person either way. Either way, the curriculum is the same. And it's intense. I mean, it's literally it's geared for marketers, everyone here. It's geared for business owners. And it's, I would say, mid-level to advanced, definitely. So for AMA, anyone that's on here and anyone that's part of the AMA, we have a 25% discount. And so I think it's $175 for the virtual, and then $550 for the in-person, and that's for the entire day, but with a 25% discount on top of that.
Hmm.
So just check it out at the Brick Marketing website. If you're interested, just check it out anyway. Even if you're not interested, you may see it again. But our next one is on April 22nd. And again, it's a full day, and we're going to teach you a lot if you come.
Hmm.
And what we're offering as part of this is 1 hour of consulting after the training. So a lot of these trainings, because we've attended a lot of trainings and classes over the years, you get information overload. You think, geez, where do I start? What do I need to do for my company, for my job, for my brand? And so what we do is we'll schedule with you a 1 hour consulting after the training, after you've had time to digest everything we teach you. And then, yeah, maybe we can help you
Yep.
prioritize, help you look at even detail, get in the weeds with you if you need us to, and really help you. So
Yep. And we're
consider one of our trainings. So
we're excited to dive in on that, and it's designed to be empowering. We want to be as
absolutely,
helpful as possible. All
absolutely.
right.
All right,
Here
Q
we
and
are.
A. All right, so why don't we, Kamal? Do you want to prioritize? You want us to just start at the top, and then if you all have questions, fire away. And then what
Yep.
we can do is maybe we have about 10 minutes left, and we can just start at
Yeah,
the top and just work our way down. Does that work? What do you think?
yeah, that's also works. And if you want to speak up of your question, just raise your hand using the tool over here in
Okay,
the reaction. So raise your hand so that I can unmute you, and then you can speak out in an interactive way. So that's the
okay,
another way to ask questions.
okay. Let me
So
go through. Let me just start at the top here. So I'll just start at the top here of the chat. So Ryan, welcome. Hopefully your career starting in marketing goes well. So welcome. Hopefully you got something out of today. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here.
Oops. I meant to.
Let's see here. What is this here? Yes,
yeah,
there will be a recording available. I think Steve, you had a question if there was going to be a recording available.
yeah,
Kamal, I'm assuming you'll send it to
yeah.
everyone that registered. So that's great. Okay.
Joni
And,
has the first question. Nick,
okay. So
looking
yep,
Yeah.
for.
yep. Johnny's first question is Nick said he'll tell AI when it's wrong. What's AI's response when you declare that? Okay. So it's funny. It
Huh.
it,
Depends on
it
the
basic
day.
it well, it depends on the day, and depends on what you're asking it. So you're not going to receive the same response twice, likely, in AI. It's just you're not. And there's actually been a lot of recent data on the search side of things for people doing the same searches, even if they're logged into their paid account or they're not logged into their account. That it's like one out of I think like 1 out of 1,000 searches get replicated. So it's not Google, right? It's not keyword based SEO anymore. So when it's wrong, you have to read it and really understand what it's telling you to do, understand what it's asking you, and then tell it, hey, this isn't right. And then, and how you know it's a telltale sign too, is it'll say, "Oh yeah, my mistake." It won't even say my mistake. It'll say good point, right? So it's like good point. Well, what about blah 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 blah? Well, and to me that almost like reduces my trust right away
Yeah.
because I'm like, yeah, and so thus I wouldn't use it for strategic direction. You maybe as someone that's going to say, "Hey, what do you think on this?" Get some ideas. But then ultimately, you as the marketer, you're driving the ship. You're the quarterback, right? You're the coach calling the plays, not AI. So yeah, that's what I've seen, and I challenge it often. I literally will challenge it, chat or I had one with Gemini the other day. It was going back and forth a lot. I was like, no, this is not right. Here's why it's not right. And I actually was so adamant. I uploaded data to prove that it was wrong, and then it finally said, "Oh, it did like it
I
didn't
did
say
that.
good. It didn't say right. It didn't say good point. It said something else, and it like dodged the question
It
essentially."
did.
So
Oh, it does that to me all the time. I have an example of this. I was trying to get Chat GPT to tell me what the Patriots record was. This was directly after that first Bills versus Patriots game where they won by a point, but the game had just finished. So it kept telling me um, the previous. I didn't know if the Patriots had won. I was trying to get it to tell me, and it wouldn't tell me. Then I ended up looking it up myself, copy and pasting the score. I said, no, they just won. So that should change the record. And then ChatGPT said, oh, good catch. And
right,
the Patriots are whatever they were. I was like, okay. So I basically just told it, and this wasted my time totally.
right,
It
right.
doesn't take ownership for its mistakes, but it does act like it's going to correct it. But I have noticed that some of the time, the model will always drift toward its programming, like its structural programming.
Yes, yeah. Like so, for instance, there are times where we'll say, we'll enter in all the variables and say, okay, here's the strategy. Here's everything that here are all the channels of marketing that we're doing. Here are all the promotions. We lay everything out without getting, obviously anything that's confidential. What would you recommend? And it just recommends kind of the same stuff sometimes. It's like, we'll do white paper campaign. And it's okay, for that, do we want gated or ungated content? Always gated. I'm like, not really, right? Not always gated.
Mm,
Right. So like there's little nuances in there where you kind of have to really pay attention to what it's saying. And I'll tell you, we're all marketers here, so we know better, right? What
hmm
concerns me is the business owner that doesn't have a in-house marketing team,
hmm
doesn't have an agency to help them, and there's no guardrails. And they're just making strategic decisions of their business, not blindly, but kind of blindly, based on what AI is telling them to do, based on maybe what every other business in their market is doing. That's not free thinking to get you to the end result in a better way. So yeah. So anyway,
hmm
so that's that.
Yep. I
Yeah.
like what
Anyway,
Victor Lee
yeah,
said. Yeah, I use AI for getting ideas, not to dominate my brain. Love that. Not to dominate
yeah.
my brain. Perfect.
It's a
Perfect
great.
way to
It's
say
great.
that.
It
Still
really
human
is.
elements work and make it more authentic. 100%. That is so true.
Yep. Yep. So
And
Johnny had another question. I want to make sure I get to
mhm.
this, and if any, because we only have a few minutes left. It says, "What's your recommendation for testing various AI tools? I type the same exact question into Claude, Perplexity, Chat, etc. Or
Yeah.
is there a better way? Or are the tools just user preference?" So
Mm. All of the above, maybe.
all of the above. Yeah,
Yeah.
I A/B test everything, literally
hmm
everything. And like I said early, we have individual paid accounts, not just the lower end paid accounts. We have the higher end paid accounts. 'Cause I find for chat, the $200 version is vastly different than the
Mm.
$20 version. It's better.
It is. Yeah,
It's a
it's a lot
lot
better.
better at what it can do and with the quality. And so yeah, I do tend to compare the answers. And I've even, geeked out on it a little bit and taken the responses from each and
Yep.
said, hey, to like Gemini, chat saying this. Do you agree or disagree with that and why? And so just to get kind of the methodology in its thinking
Yeah.
essentially. So those are just some ways that I kind of test it. But
And I
again,
do some different things too.
yeah, and
Um,
we're not using it to make strategic decisions. We're
no.
using it to give us maybe different ways of looking at things, look at some key points, and everything we mentioned today about content, for content marketing. But we're not using it
Yeah.
for
I
strategy.
actually advocate starting the testing process with something in our personal lives. like something where there's not money at stake or not a lot of money. Maybe my own purchasing habits are at stake. But with businesses, the stakes are a bit higher. For me, creating a shopping list, I'll test the different platforms. Sometimes I'll upload like recipes into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and I'll see what kind of like in the way it makes the shopping list. Okay, so you can see how it works by doing a basic everyday task that honestly creating a shopping list does take a lot of time normally. I've had it create menus for me. That's not the same level of, oh gosh, I have to get it right as it is for
Right.
creating like website content or
Right.
whatever. But it helps me get to know like the nuances. I'll say to myself, okay, well, I'm never going to use, I don't know, Perplexity for making a shopping. I like the way ChatGPT did it better. That's not true. I actually like them all for that task, but I wouldn't know this unless I tried it personally, and then I'll know that a task that is list based or extracting information to create a new thing based, I'll know they all can handle it equally.
Right. Right. Yeah. So we actually offer AI agents for marketing as well,
Mm,
that help simplify, and not simplify, but just save time on repetitive tasks. That we all kind of do. But before we did that, personal. Catherine mentioned personal. I actually bought my car through ChatGPT.
that's a fun story.
I did. I literally did. I knew exactly it was a used car, right? So I knew exactly what I was looking for, and I set up an agent. I'm like, I didn't have time to look at all the car sites, so I
Right.
set up an agent and said, I want you to check every day. Here's the years, the price I want to pay, all the within 50 miles of my zip code, and literally I want you to search on these 15 websites. I went through all the car sites, these 15 sites, and then every day would send me an email, an alert through the app, and then this was about a year ago or so, maybe a little longer than
Mm,
that, year and a half ago. And then literally I saw what I wanted. I said, oh, called up the dealership, said, went and saw it and bought it the next day. So, real world scenario, like you said, Catherine, using it, something that isn't necessarily like that wasn't mission critical, right? It wasn't
right.
that
It
big of
was
a
the early
thing,
days of agents that helped us see how the concept worked.
right? Right. And that's where we tested it. And then I unleashed my team. And
You're right.
then we started launching it for all these various things just to
Yeah.
save time, basically, and all the various activities.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any other questions about 4 o'clock right now? Does anyone else have any other questions for us about content marketing? Anything else for today?
All good, Nick and Catherine. So
Perfect.
it's almost out of time. I would like one more thing from you guys here,
Absolutely.
from everyone. If you could able to turn on your camera and we can take a small picture of all of us, kind of a virtual
Nice.
picture.
Oh, fun.
If you could able to do that so that I can turn into an immersive view, is kind of a picture here. Let's see this one. Okay, I'm gonna start it here. You can hang out for some more time.
Oh, that's cute. I like
Oh, that's great.
Perfect. So I'm gonna
That's
do a screenshot quickly.
That's great.
Oh, thank you, everyone. This is fun.
that
We'll
was
see
fun.
you at the next time. Take
Thank
care.
you, everyone. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.